Introverts, how did you meet your girlfriend? It's actually a very easy answer. I didn't. We worked together. I wasn't really interested at first. She seemed a bit standoffish. But one day she stayed after work and hung out talking to me. I invited her to a 4th of July cookout at a friend's house the next day. As my crush couldn't make it, she said yes and was very touchy-feely with me. I was oblivious still. One of my friends at the cookout suggested a few of us go see a movie the next day and she said yes. When we went, she sat next to me and kinda snuggled up close. Still oblivious. After the movie, she hung out with me at my apartment. Sat on my lap with her honey my chest. And watched Red vs. Blue with me. She was cold and asked me to hold her. She put my hand on her ass. And I was still oblivious. It wasn't until she left at 2 AM that I realized, what if she's into me? I told a close girlfriend of mine. And she almost hit me for not asking her out. So I called her up and she said yes. We've been together 7 years now. I was both an introvert and an idiot. When guys say we don't catch signals, we really don't. Met someone that realized I was too shy to make a move and aggressively flirted with me and hinted all the time. All of my girlfriends have been the aggressor in starting the relationships. And not with subtle hints either. Basically they have to knock on my skull and say, hey, we're gonna date now. My girlfriend is an extrovert. She introduced herself and I made an uncomfortable joke about how, since she doesn't know me, I'm MR anonymous. We've been together for 5 years now. I threw pistachios at my now husband because he was sitting at the bar playing hard to get. Dating site. Wife now. Found the actual introvert. No superfluous words were used. Through a mutual friend. We've known each other since 2011 and I had a crush on her since day one. We used to cuddle a lot after parties throughout the years, but I was too scared to ask her out. In 2018 I asked said mutual friend if he thought she'd like to go out with me. He just straight up asked her. She said that she would like that, but I was still too scared to do anything. She got tired of waiting for me to ask her out and asked me out instead. Turns out she had a crush on me all that time too. We're engaged now. By talking and meeting new people. Just because I'm introverted doesn't mean I don't do these things. Reddit thinks introverts never talk to people. It may not be our favorite thing to do, but it's not like most of us are shut-ins, as much as people joke about it. Moved in with her and her roommate. I essentially Stockholmed her into liking me. Overcame my fear of rejection. Manned the FCK up and started failing at chatting up girls. Not even chatting up. Just talking to random girls. After a while I lost my fare. Gained confidence and got a girl. Getting the right girl is actually the last step in building your own confidence. So I would suggest that starting right now. Make a conversation with every person you interact with. Just something small and easy. Just one line to the next person you see and build from there. Interesting. It should be easy enough if your only fear is of rejection. But some people are afraid of going on dates in general. Having to talk to someone you don't know well is stressful and hard. Also, how do you chat them up without being creepy? She met me, followed me home, and never left. I need that to happen to me. I'm too oblivious for hints and too insecure to act up on the ones I notice. Same way I meet all my girlfriends. Every time we ran into each other I gave her some cake so she would eventually associate me with the joyous feeling of cake. 2-3 years later they are all mine. You can speed this process up with heroin. Just for your information. I got drunk at a bar multiple times. Gave me the courage I needed to speak and now I'm married years later. Close bracket. Time to try alcohol. We met at work. I was shy and she just randomly came up to me one day and asked if I wanted to be her friend. We hit it off there and then, but I started to catch feelings not long after. Turns out she felt the same way. And we are now in a relationship and I couldn't be happier. Those of you who are still reading this know. I'm completely bullshitting. Of course I don't have a girlfriend. I'm an introverted, shy and oxygen wasting organism who only has an imagination to keep my spirits up. Girlfriend? I don't even have a friend. Edit. Thank you for your support, fellow redditors. I don't know how to start a casual conv with people. All I wanna do is intellectual talk about space, quantum mechanics etc and no one is interested. So I am left alone in groups most of the time. Dating app called Whippler. Joined it. It's laid out like a set of octagonal tiles with the ones nearest the top being nearest to you, and as you go down they get further away. Sent a message to this girl that wasn't too far away from me and asked if she'd be up for chatting, and once she said okay we had a brief chat. At the end I asked if she'd be okay with me messaging again and that was okay, so we built up our conversations in terms of length and depth and went on a first date about a month later. We've been together almost 4 years now. I'd like to try a dating app, but I just don't like taking pictures of myself, which you need for most if not all dating apps, so unless I can overcome this I have to find another way. No, I'm not ugly or beautiful, I'm just average, but pictures make me uncomfortable, same with hearing my own voice. Currently single. But in the past. It usually came about because we were in the same marching band friend group. Another happened because we sat next to each other at college orientation and we hit things off from there. I'm sure this is a rare one. But Omegle. 6 years ago. I used to use the website a lot. Chatting with girls. I met my girlfriend on the site and starting messaging each other a lot. Then Skyping. It turns out she was planning on going to the same college as I was, lived in the same state. Now we have been living together for 2 years. Through Tinder during COVID. Honestly, when we first matched I thought she was a bot or she was just looking for entertainment during COVID, so I didn't text. A couple of hours later I get a message from her asking about my name and then we took off from there. Due to our distance though, we already been on 2 dates and planning our third. Here's hoping we become official. My close friends and I met up for drinks before a house party. And one of my friends brought their course mate. Usually I have trouble in being confident and outgoing around new people. But because I was comfortable with almost everyone there I acted a lot more chill. Cracking jokes. Doing stupid shit. Basically my true self. She told my friend that she thinks I'm good looking and it took me a good 2 hours to come up with the courage to talk to her. Anyway, we've been together for almost a year now, lol. She asked me if she could come over. I said yes. She practically didn't leave for 3 months. And then she left. Straight back to her ex. Not much of a loss though. Oh man. Don't worry, there are a million more women. Don't care about someone that didn't deserve you. My right hand. It's nice. Gentle. And soft. I don't know how many times I have to write this, but here we go. Being introverted doesn't mean you can't socialize or you dread socializing. It just means you're drained by sustained levels of intense socializing and need alone time to recharge. You don't need to meet your GF at a club or party. Literally just do anything you like doing, and if you see a cute girl say hi and after 5 minutes of talking be like, hey, you seem really cool. If you're interested in grabbing a coffee or beer sometime, hit me up at this number and drop it. Also, as much as it's demonized by the incel infestation of this platform, use F-King dating apps. I found my current girlfriend of almost 3 years on Tinder. My friend is using Hinge right now and he says it's pretty cool. I personally found that knowing ahead of time that a date was in fact really a date helped me get into the right headspace and approach those moments with some real intimacy and flirtation instead of a more friendly or agreeable demeanor. No lie, my boyfriend is an awkward introvert and we met on a porn site that has a chat feature. It's called Literotica. We now live together for 5 years, him having moved from Florida to Michigan. Have really cool hobbies and plan interesting dates. Even if it's the first date. Plan something interesting to do that shows off your talent's intelligence. Don't worry about the small talk too much. Let your lifestyle speak for itself. Answer. I live on a sailboat, so we met at the marina for our first date. She had lots of questions and it was something I knew a lot about, so I had lots of confidence. She was 3 hours late for work the next morning. We've been together 2 years. Literally being myself. I met her and she was a friend for the first weeks until I realized I love her. It was an emotional gradient and it was the weirdest and best thing ever. I am still relatively cynical, but now when and how to express it without just being contrarian or pledging allegiance to neither side. And it was the most awesome thing and probably the thing. But that emotion changed me. I was being 100% me. Whereas in the past I always talked to women I was attracted to in a manner that sometimes made me cringe mid-convo. This time there was no line between me and presentable me. It was all truth and to a certain degree vulnerability. The phrase putting yourself out there is a perfect embodiment of what I mean. Not only in the literal way of leaving your house, but also extending the you outside. Where of course the possibility of rejection exists. Dating site. Took me 2 months after I registered. Chatted. We hit it off. We called each other. We talked for a long time. We meet up. We met up many times. She moved in with me. We lived together and studied at a university. We got jobs. We moved to a house. We got married a year ago. That's where we are now. Close bracket. I hope a story of how I met my now husband is okay for this post. I was going to therapy and was encouraged to go out to events and parties. I met him at a university holiday event and we both volunteered to visit and give donuts to kids in the hospital. I pulled myself together and went to every party or hangout I was invited to. We got to know each other. Got drunk with friends one night and we started to making out. Then we went on a few dates and slowly became serious. Our first dates were pretty easy going since we already knew each other and the dates were more fun than a scary interview. We just celebrated 2 years of marriage. Everyone else in our friend group paired off and started dating. So it was just the two of us hanging out a lot of the time. After spending so much time alone together and getting really close, it just felt natural for the next step to be dating. Introverted exhibitionist here. Over the years, I devoted a lot of my rumination time to the amazingness of rock and roll and developing a style I could call my own by looking at photos and videos of old rockers and taking an interest in fashion and listening to way too much punk rock. Despite being an introvert, part of me likes to put myself on display. Others can pick up on this quality of carefulness and sorta like meticulous personality and identify people with it as smart. Some women find it sexy. If thinking is your strength, use it to your advantage and don't be afraid to showcase it to the world. He was in a documentary about schizophrenia. I thought clever, nice, talented and handsome, he'll be mine soon. Saw the documentary on YouTube while I was inpatient for the same illness. I stalked him and managed to find his entire name. So I have decided to contact him on Facebook. He answered but was super shy at first and didn't know that I wanted to know more about him. After months on phone and video calls, I have traveled across the country to finally meet him. Now we live together. We met at high school when she was staring at me from across the lunch table. Not in a creepy way. Just adoringly. My friend tapped me and said, "You know she likes you." I took a look and responded obviously. Double quote. Anyway, she stole my phone number from a friend and none too subtly texted me saying that a movie she wanted to see was coming out. I took the hint. Anyway, we're married now. 2. 5 years marriage. 6. 5 after the aforementioned lunch conversation. I'm the girlfriend. But we met playing WoW. I like talking to new people and have always played online games to stay social with friends when we move several states apart, as people who meet in college so often do. He was an active member in a friends guild and after a while we realized it wasn't just a really good friendship. Yeah. Met her in HS. I was able to slowly get to know her. She was a friend of a friend in our friend group. I slowly got used to her. She became one of my closest friends. A friend in the same group did have the courage to ask her out. When that ended several years later, we were still friends. Then we got together. By that time I had been in the army a while and was able to grow a pair. I'm still an introvert on the inside, but I've been able to get up and talk in front of 250 people. I would have rather have been in my office with the door shut. But you do what you have to. My advice is to be a chameleon. You can be an introvert, but you should be able to play the part of an outgoing fun person. I do a lot of matching the enthusiasm of the person I talk to. If someone gives me a big happy hi, I shake my head and blink like a bomb went off and say hi. After a while, you can be confident and outgoing in public but go home and hide in the basement. She basically chased first. Gotta give it to them southern girls. They always get what they want. My mate's partner had a friend said we should meet up because we seemed similar people and we would probably get on. I didn't make a move for 2 years. Was walking home from work one day. She was walking her dog and we stopped to chat. As I was walking away she stopped, turned and said maybe we should meet up sometime. She gave me her number and told me to text her. Needless to say I got home and texted her almost immediately. We met that weekend and things went from there. Best feeling ever. She basically told me we were dating now, and I'm too shy to break up with her. Don't really like her but don't like speaking up. I met her at an outing that I didn't want to go to because I just wanted to play Rocket League. Special thanks to my friends for dragging me out. She asked me to play poker with her back at her dorm. It didn't click that she might actually like me or whatever. I almost didn't call her. Something told me I prob should and she wouldn't have asked me specifically. Anyway, been married since 2007. I don't have GF at the moment, but I recently broke up with it. 3 years relationship, and she was the one making the first move. I followed. But if it wasn't for her I'd still be single. Since then I've gained a lot of confidence though and now I'm the one initiating and making the first move. It's still strange feeling for me that I am this person now. Capital D. Shotgun method on dating apps. Swipe right until I run out of likes. Do it again the next day. Work with what I get back. Roughly once a year I get a date. Had 2 girlfriends over the last 4 years so I'm rocking a 50% hit rate so far. She's a divorced colleague in another department and an even worse introvert than I am. I heard from one of my team that she had been insulted in our office and was upset about it. So I approached her with the intent to find out who did it and what happened. She admitted that I was the offender. A dismissive comment I made in jest toward a group of people had been received differently than intended. I was shocked. Never imagined it could have been me. I couldn't even remember the event at the time. However, I apologized sincerely. And that completely changed her impression of me. She said it was the first time a man had ever apologized to her. After that she invited me out for coffee and we started to get to know each other. Started texting. And you know how it goes from there. We work at the same place. One day out of the blue she texted me a poop emoji and when I asked why she said I wanted to let you know you're a little shit. We started hanging out that same night and now we're getting married next August. My BF doesn't use Reddit so I will answer for him. He's extremely introverted and has a lot of trouble talking to random people. But he tried a dating site. A Cupid to be specific. He liked me, but never messaged me cause he was too scared. One day I'm scrolling through the site, and I see him and think his picture is cute. So I read his profile. Then I liked him. I got a message that we matched. So I messaged him. We started talking in late March on a Cupid. Then moved to Discord and we've been together since. So he met me on a dating site because I was not too scared to say hi to him. Just because we matched. Asked her out in high school during our last year because I'd just come out and decided to shoot my shot. I've been with the most beautiful and amazing girlfriend I could ever hope for. If she finds this, I love you. I was super duper broke and was bumming lunch off my buddy. He insisted we go to this cafe that he loves but I hate. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. He spotted some of his friends and insisted we sit with them. One of the girls asked me about my Hermione has forgotten how to dance shirt and we just sort of clicked. I'm forging her engagement ring right now. My husband is an introvert. We were set up by mutual friends in college. They were adamant about this happening. So I told them I wasn't really looking to get into a serious relationship just yet. I had just broken up with my long-term boyfriend a week before. But I'd be happy to go on a date. So, my friends told him. She's just looking for a good time. Double quote. I made him wait 3 months before giving it up. XD. Most of the women that I wound up actually involved with more than briefly. I met through either mutual friends or a mutual activity. I think it's allowed me to get comfortable with that person, as well as getting to see them without the pressure on either of us of romantic evaluation. Then, typically, there's at least one incident with alcohol involved where one of us winds up saying more than we normally would, and crossing that line that gives the green light that it's on. Husband is an introvert. I approached him. I'm introverted too, but damn, he was cute and my 17-year-old self said do it. Happy I did. Moved back to town. Newly single after a 3-year relationship. Wasn't interested in a new one. Got to talking to someone about politics in an online forum. Found out she was local. And said let's grab a drink and keep talking. Had no idea how old she was or what she looked like. We got married a year later. My sister set up a family and friends barbecue for me when I came home on leave one time. She forgot to invite the friends except for the girl who is now my wife.